These both look the same, right? Both look like Starlink dishes. That's because they are. But today's video we're going to talk about taking one apart so that you can flat mount it. Because that is all it is once you strip it down. So just how easy is it to flat mount and strip down your Starlink V2 or Gen 2 dish? Let's get into it. Right, so here we have a Starlink Gen 2 V2 whatever dish on its stand with a cable. I am going to basically take the front of the dish off the back of the dish without using a Dremel like most people seem to do. Flat is far more convenient. I can leave it on the van all the time rather than having all this gubbins to mess around with. I can put the cable through a gland up onto my roof of my van, plug it straight in the back, seal it all up. So you're breaking the seal and at the same time hopefully unclipping it. There we go. And obviously this isn't a 2-minute job, but neither is dremeling the back off. And from what I count, from everything that I've seen, the beauty of doing it this way is that you can easily just reassemble it and just glue it back together. So you can hear those plastic pieces breaking and then keep moving it backwards and forwards until you get under there. So you see now I'm actually inside. And I can start to move it. So yeah, like I say, not something that you can do in 10 minutes, but like I say, neither is dremeling it apart. So that is going to start to come off soon. There you go, so that part's coming off, you can see it splitting there. I just need to do more. Now some might be tempted to push the knife straight inside, but just remember there are cables and everything in there, sensitive electronics. So whilst yes there is a piece of plastic sort of underneath there which this clips to, you don't want the knife to slip inside, so you do want an element of control over there. So forget the big knife. I've also brought this, which is a metal ruler, so that I can then pull that and put that under, just so that I can keep getting under there and keep breaking that seal as I move along.
Gadget John is in the zone, Starlink dishing his tools alone, takes it apart piece by piece, once they flat, no more lease. Bring that signal from the sky, Gadget John gonna make it fly. Starlink dreams with hands so bright, Flatmount shining in the night. Every bolt has its tail, John won't let it fail.
Just release these two clips in there and there. I do need this connector here. This one's the motor, so do away with that one. But I would like to keep things as original as possible, just so that if I ever did want to put it back together, I can do. The next one now is obviously how to get that off there, which I'm assuming is roughly the same sort of thing. It's just going to be prying on the inside of there. It looks like it's welded on, plastic welded on.
Wires twisting, circuits bend, John knows just where to send. Bring that twist and circuits bend.
And this does actually open up one of the questions I've always thought about the Starlink, about the Gen 2 anyway, was these little holes down the side here. So at least now we can see where they came in. So once that's put back on there and sealed, then, well, water can't get into the other side of the Starlink, the PCB side, albeit that water could get into the motors and stop the motors from working. But at least then you can see from there that all I need to do now is get that cable out of there. And it goes all the way down there. So I'd imagine that something in there, like that plastic thing there, maybe if I can release that, then I can release, no, not Wadwick, for those of you Monty Python viewers, but maybe I can release, oh, there we go, let that go then. So there's a little thing on the back there, so you've got to pull that way, and there we go, slide backwards.
Bring that signal from the sky. Gadget John gonna make it fly. Starlink dreams with heads so bright. Flatmount shining in the night.
So there we go. Let's pull that out. I can then unclip that from there by the looks of it. So there we go. So finally, yay! Right, so you're probably now thinking, oh my god, John, how many bits is your Starlink in? Let's review how many bits the Starlink's in, and yeah, go through what's left, the usable bits. That's it. So that's dishy. That's the cable that you normally connect your Starlink cable up to. So by plugging all that in, that means everything goes back together. I can put this back together exactly how it was. That is how thin dishy is. Which is quite remarkable really, considering the bulk of this, and this is what's left. So that is the shroud that covers the motors, and those are the cables for the motors. That is obviously where the cable goes and you connect up to, and those are pieces that basically protect the cable and the motors. And as you can see, I've not damaged anything. I've just merely sort of like, you know, unglued it, if you like. So we don't need that piece now. I'll leave that there. I just need that now, and try and work out how I can sort of seal it up, if you like, for want of a better word, just so I can go and test it flat on the roof of my van. And just in case this didn't work out, like I say, I've got a complete new Starlink kit in a box, sat there, just making sure. But for now, there's my flat mount. It's in a couple of plastic bags. That's the cable poking out the back there, so I can then just go and hook that up on the roof and see how it does just flat mount on the roof. Right then, so first of all, let's just check that it works on the original equipment. So let's power up, put the inverter on, and once this comes on, obviously then it's going to see that the dish, which is currently sat on top of the max fan there, as you can see. Alright, so yeah, we're going to basically see what this thinks of having no motors, and show your Starlink is plugged in. Now there we go, booting up, so it can see the dish at least. Searching for satellites. Entering Starlink network. Bob, bob, bob. Optimizing connection. And there we go, online. So if we do a speed test, see how fast we get. Wowzers. I mean, some days I didn't even get that, even when it had angled itself to the right angle supposedly and all this kind of stuff. And like I say, just for the fact that it's now flat, sat up there on top of the skylight is just, yeah, can't believe it. So yeah, there we go. Starlink online. It wants a software update as well, so let's do a software update, and then I'll flick over onto the 12-volt system and then we'll test it on that one. Right, so that's the 12-volt system now in place. As you can see, the Starlink return comes into the top there, or the Starlink power. This unit is powered off 12 volts, and as you can see, it's got a network cable that goes into the router that's on the other side there. And obviously for now, my Starlink cable just goes out and up to the top, back to where it was a minute ago when it was powered by mains power. So we'll give it a couple of seconds to find itself, and then we'll do some speed test again and see what the difference is. Right, so just so that we're sort of clear right now, I am connected to my local network, the new router that I've put up there. And it's now obviously able to instantly connect to Starlink. I've set this router to allow it to be connected to EE, so mobile broadband, and Starlink at the same time. So that router can utilize two networks, actually three, because it's got two SIM card slots, as well as the ability to work on Starlink, or rather to have a WAN input from this 12-volt Starlink adapter. So I just have to connect everything to that one router now, and whether Starlink's running or not, it'll decide whether it's running the network through Starlink or through my local sort of EE broadband connection. So there we go, we're currently working off that 12-volt Starlink adapter. Again, it's a V2 or Gen 2 adapter, and it's basically routing everything through the router that is on the back there. So if we go into my app, we can show that the Starlink is online, and there's no sort of obstruction data or anything like that yet, so I can't see how actually, how well it's performing, but it is online and it is working okay. If you do a Starlink speed test, again it's doing a download speed test, then an upload speed test. So again, that's okay for me. I could do with a little bit more upload, but other than that, it's okay. If we then go to a generic speed test app, again, it's showing that we are using the Starlink network. Always thinks we're in London, so it'll always choose a server in London. And then click go, and then we'll be able to see what sort of speed we get in 32 pings, really good. Yep, and it's firing up nicely there. Nice and fast. So yeah, can't complain about that. That's a really good download speed. Don't forget, right now my Starlink dish is pulled to pieces in a plastic bag, sealed up, placed just on top of my roof vent. It's not in its most sort of ideal performing situation or configuration, but 127 down and 20 meg up, yeah, well happy with that, with a 32 ping as well. So yeah, again, what I'm using at the moment is that router, which is an iNet GLX3000, and I've currently got it in fallover mode. You can have it in sort of balance mode as well, where it can use Starlink and EE, but just for this test, I wanted to show just what it's like on Starlink alone. And this is a new router to me, so there will be a video all about this router and how I've configured it and what it's all set up like. But I just thought I'd show you this is the router that I'm using for my Starlink. Basically because that little box that's up there is just a power supply. So if you notice, there's a network cable coming out, and that goes into the back of my router. That's a WAN, wide area network connection. So that's basically just providing the 50 odd volts to the Starlink, and then obviously at the back of it, then it's got the the network side of it, which I need the router for. So that's it. That is me up and running on Starlink, and yeah, the only thing I'm using is the very tiny thin front of the dish. Everything else I've taken away. And it still performs absolutely fantastic. A little interesting observation, I just pulled this off the roof, and yeah, it gets quite warm. It's not a warm day today. I think it's around about sort of 16-17 degrees with the wind, But yeah, that is hot, especially that bit there. Oof, really hot. So I've got to bear that in mind with whatever I do with it, that possibly needs a bit of ventilation. So I just thought I'd let you know that the power usage obviously is going into a lot of components in the back there, which generates a lot of heat. So yeah, I am well happy about that, to get my Starlink flat mounted on the roof, all settled down. I even bought a smaller cable as well. I think it's a 5-meter cable or 3-meter cable. So I'll link to that as well if you want to get a shorter cable. So yeah. It does seem like Starlink is moving so fast that pretty much 2 years ago I wrote Starlink off because it wouldn't work in like Scandinavia, for example, or Scotland. So I pretty much sort of said, no, not for me, thanks. And then about a year ago, when I got Starlink and I started to use it a bit more, I said fantastic. But for the amount of times that I use it, it's not worth going through the hassle of doing the 12-volt conversion, which you can just see lighting up behind me there, nor doing a flat mount kit. However, times move on. They've put more satellites up there, which means flat mounting is, well, as you've seen, perfectly doable now with speeds and connectivity. And the equipment seems to, you know, cooperate a lot more with having it flat mounted and it working on 12 volt. So if I want Starlink, pretty much just switch it on and wait for it to come on, and it'll be flat mounted on the roof, so there won't be any sort of like messing around with getting outside in the rain or the snow or whatever and flicking things on up there and connecting it and putting cables through and that. It'll just all be ready to go, just like I say, just flick of a power switch. It's powered on and my router will automatically connect over to it. My internet will work as it did before, as will all my remote cameras and my Alexa speaker and everything else, because it's all connecting to that one router, and the router's deciding if it wants to connect to the internet via Starlink if it's on, or via my EE network, which is a SIM card in the router. So yeah, it's so easy just to dismantle the dish in the end, get everything out without drilling, you know, messing with cables or anything like that, and put it all back together again. Yeah, if I need to do that. So I'm really hoping that no matter whether I'm at the top of Scandinavia or I'm at the bottom of Europe, that I'll still get my Starlink working just flat mounted on the roof there without any issues. But like I say, I'll probably follow up this video in a few months' time with a bit more detailed information. Well, thanks for watching. Like I say, all the links to everything that I've used down below. Yeah, I'll catch you on another video. Take care, folks. Bye.
Heavy bolt has its sail, John won't let it fail. Flatmount ready, brave and bold, sky high stories to be told. Wires twist and circuits bend, John knows just where to send. Bring that signal from the sky, John won't let it fail.